How the devil are you guys, and welcome to No Man's Sky episode 3, Leaks and Greeks. And I will actually finally go into why I've called it that at the penultimate end of this episode, shall we say. Now, this episode is everything else, and it's going to contain the most spoilers. So, yeah. Now, the leakers and the, shall we say, the developers and people like Sean at Hello Games, I'm going to be going into the what they confirm towards each other and what they contradict each other with, as I've done in the previous episodes. So I believe it's the Damien player who has stated that they believe the heatsink and the mining speed upgrades are glitched and working backwards, and consequently they think they were getting resources quicker at the start of the game than they should have been, and as they upgraded it they were actually downgrading the equipment. Now that sounds like something that should be patched, and if it isn't already planned in the day one patch, they're probably going to have to plan that for the next patch. So I'm not going to go into what stone, but certain stones sell for 275k, and it changes the emphasis of the game. You don't need to survive quite as much, because everything else you were selling was going for 5 to 10 or 30 to 40 depending on the size of the stack and the rareness of it. So it's quite an important item, but it's overpriced. And not only that, when you find these items, sometimes you find free fuel. Now that's the players that have been playing it so far think that's a bit too generous. Now of course, all this sort of stuff has led to the conspiracy theory people who say no, it mustn't be a legitimate copy of the game, it must be a stolen demo version that someone's half hinched and put in their pocket when they've been at E3 or something like that. Who knows? Probably is a retail version. The way games work these days, they go gold and then they still fix them and then release it as a patch. Or it could even be intentional, like shall we say, what was it? Batman Arkham Asylum, where the PC version had an intentional glitch built in to stop you from using the glide on the cape, and that meant you couldn't get past certain parts of the game if you had a copied version. So it could even be intentional. Who knows? That's just me. However, most of the people playing this game have said that they do believe it's in 60 frames a second. So that's quite nice if it is true. And now we get onto the more spoilerific parts of this conversation, shall we say. Even though you're not really responding as I speak, you're going to be responding in the comments, and I'm merely monologuing at you at this moment in time. Yes. One leaked image appears to show 3 things, shall we say, in an elaborate pose. I'm not going to go into what they are, it's too spoilerific and you need to know a bit too much. However, shall we say it possibly involves the Atlas, and this image appears to have a bit of a large lore and story implications possibly. So avoiding going into detail too much, the closest thing for me that it reminds me of is if anyone's seen Stargate SG-1, and I'm showing my age there because this is going to be right at the beginning, season 1, 2, something like that, the Torment of Tantalus episode. There is a planet with a sort of council type building, and it has some monoliths up that goes into details about certain people. Yes, anyone who knows what I'm referring to, that's the sort of vibe I'm getting from the information I've had. Next, the game either takes place in a universe with multiple galaxies, and Hello Games, I believe Sean said in an audio interview, I think it might have been with Game Informer, somebody at the Hello Games site accidentally put on their website that it was a galaxy after it had said universe for so long, and then they started considering that a running joke and thought about making it smaller every week and saying, oh, it's in a solar system, or it's in the atmosphere of the planet or whatever. However, getting back to the point, the game's either taking place in the whole universe or in just one galaxy at a time. So think of it as there's multiple galaxies in the universe, and when you reach the center of the first one you get started in, you can go to multiple other universes, or, and they're all in the same universe, or other people have the theory of a new game plus type of thing. So you complete the tutorial galaxy and then you can go to galaxy level 2, which is a different galaxy. And when you complete that galaxy, you get to try playing galaxy level 3, and so on and so forth. So that's a bit of a debate that's going on between people at the minute. And lastly, or shall I say penultimately, leaks and Greeks. Why do I say leaks and Greeks? Because as I stated in the previous video, Euclid was a mathematician, and it's the Euclid galaxy that you start in. So there's this thing in this game called the Atlas. Very important thing, apparently. It's where you keep all your information and such, and it's got a bit of a lore and story significance that Hello Games have sort of hinted at but not gone into any details about. In Greek mythology, Atlas was a Titan god of endurance and astronomy. Now I find that interesting because obviously it's a survival game set in space, so endurance in astronomy. Yes. Now he was condemned to hold up the sky for eternity after the Titanomachy War, the war between the Titans and the younger Olympian gods. A war fought to decide which gods had domain over the universe, and the Olympians won. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is where I start rambling a little bit. Now, for me, is the Atlas the key to the universe, and it holds the universe together, hence Titan holding up the sky, and no man's sky. So Titan is holding up the sky because he's the god of survival and the stars, or endurance and astronomy, and he cursed to and condemned to hold up the sky. And the Atlas and all that is the information repository, I believe, and it's got links to that as well. So godly knowledge, so to speak. So as we look into that for the future, the leakers and the developers. Now, the leakers' experience should be considered what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? How many people have actually managed to get hold of this game now? About 5 at the max, so you could say it's 5-man Sky at the minute. However, they have all shown different playstyles and limitless potential. Potentially, possibly, we will all find out our own versions of No Man's Sky. For good or ill, we are gonna have our own unique experiences that, to varying levels of degrees depending on what we aim for, whether it's speedrunning or turning into Picard or Kirk, turning into Luke Skywalker, or even turning into Lister from Red Dwarf, who knows. We may decide to there's going to be somebody out there who decides, I'm not upgrading bugger all, I'm going to just make sure my ship actually flies, it's going to be as basic as possible, and then I'm going to meander through space, failing from one planet to the next, like Red Dwarf. Who knows? Someone might even play it like Farscape and roleplay that they're a human being stuck in a different galaxy and they need to get home. The possibilities are endless, as they say. So I hope you've enjoyed my rambling, shall we say, and my theories, and the contradictions and confirmations that appear to be out there from the leakers and the developers. Hopefully you will come back and see me fail when I finally get my hands on the game and boot it up on my PC and probably die within 10 seconds knowingly. However, until then, or shall I say, until I decide I can't wait that long and I make another rambling video about No Man's Sky, I shall see you there. I hope you have fun, I hope you come back, and until then, this is Robbie Don. Robbie gone.